Okay, I'm going to have Catherine come up now. Now, Catherine, I tell people if they have a lot of things they'd like healing for, try to focus on no more than your top three things. The simpler you describe it, the better. But then I'm going to check a lot of things automatically. So you mentioned you'd like some healing for lung congestion and also for the Meniere's disease with vertigo. But besides what people mention, I'm going to check your spine. I'm going to do some hands-on balancing of the trigger points around your back. I'm going to check the organs, the glands, the nerves. I'm going to check the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual centers. So I'm going to have you come up to the table right now and just lay down on your stomach. Okay, so the first thing I do, I'm going to check the leg length. Okay, so right now to start, your right leg looks about 3/4 to an inch shorter. This one. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet and I'm just going to tune in and get some information first. Okay, I'm going to do some healing first, and then I'm going to do some muscle work around your back second. Now, about 50% of the people I work with, when I'm doing the healing and God's working through me, about 50% sense something at the time. Things like heat, tingling, a sense of peace, a sense of love, a wave sensation traveling over the body, or a sense that someone's holding their feet, even when I'm not touching them. 50% on the other hand won't sense anything at the time. But usually about 90% notice in that first 24 hours after the healing that their symptoms are diminished or gone. So at any given point in time, whatever the individual is allowing themselves to receive with the healing usually manifests very, very fast. Okay, you can get back up and sit in the chair. Okay, so when you got on the table, your right leg was between 3/4 of an inch and an inch shorter. I did some healing with your immune system. I did some healing with your lymphatic system. I did some healing with your spine and your neck, mid-back, low back, and pelvis. I did some healing with the joints, bones, discs, ligaments and tendons, muscles, nerves. I did some healing with the vertigo. I did some healing with your blood circulation and blood vessels. I did some healing with your lungs and your internal organs. I did some healing with the endocrine glands. I did some healing with the hormonal system. I did some healing with your emotional body. I did some healing with the mental body. I balanced the spiritual centers. I did some healing with old memories adversely affecting the present. When I rechecked your legs were even. Muscles, I scanned over your back and asked which trigger point should I stimulate physically. And then the last thing I checked, I asked, is there anything else I need to do some healing for at this time? And I got, no, this covers everything that needs some healing right now. If you can, drink plenty of water over the next 24 hours and have a wonderful response.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So, where should we go? Straight into Satnam. Have a seat. Okay. Now, Satnam, you mentioned some of the things you'd like healing for is allergies and a cough.
Yeah.
Is the cough chronic? Is it going to sometime now?
No, yeah.
Or just recent?
Night time mostly, mostly night, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's like I always tell people, I'm going to check a lot of things
Okay.
because the holistic model basically says everything affects everything. So besides these things, I'm going to check my whole checklist.
Okay.
So we're going to have you come up to the table here.
Okay. You want to take shoe off?
No, keep the shoes on so we can do a measurement.
Okay.
Okay, the first thing I do, I'm going to check your leg length. Yeah. This is one of the reasons we keep the shoes on, because in his case, the leg differential is almost you can't even pick anything up, maybe a 32nd of an inch. So very, very slight. But it's just something from my chiropractic days that I like to check because when I first started doing the healing, it was so hard for me to believe anything was happening. I liked seeing things. But of course, since, half the work I do with healing is over the phone, obviously I can't see it. So anyway, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to get some information first. Okay, I'm going to do some healing first, and then I'm going to do some muscle work around your back second. And once again, when I work with people, when I'm doing the healing and God's working through me, about 50% sense something at the time. Things like heat, tingling, a sense of peace, a sense of love, a wave sensation traveling over the body, or a sense that someone's holding their feet, even when I'm not touching them. 50% on the other hand won't sense anything at the time. But usually about 90% notice in that first 24 hours after the healing that their symptoms are diminished or gone. So whatever the person is allowing themselves to receive with the healing usually manifests very, very fast. Okay, you can sit back up in the chair. Okay, so when you got on the table, like I said, your right leg was just very slightly shorter, maybe a 32nd of an inch.
Okay.
I did some healing with your immune system. I did some healing with your lymphatic system. I did some healing with your spine and the neck, mid-back, low back, and pelvis. I did some healing with the joints, bones, discs, ligaments and tendons, muscles, nerves. I did some healing with the allergies. I did some healing with your blood circulation and blood vessels. I did some healing with your sinuses and the mucous membranes. I did some healing to help with the cough. I did some healing with your internal organs. I did some healing with the endocrine glands and the hormonal system. I did some healing with your emotional body. I did some healing with the mental body. I balanced the spiritual centers. I did some healing with old memories adversely affecting the present. When I rechecked the legs were even. Trigger points, I scanned over your back and asked which muscles around the spine I should stimulate physically. And then the last thing I checked, I asked, is there anything else I need to do some healing for at this time? And I got, no, this covers everything that needs some healing right now. If you can, drink plenty of water today. Spiritual healing has a tendency to release some toxins. The water flushes it on through. Have a wonderful response.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good. So, yeah, a lot of times people have questions they ask, like, when you're scanning over a person, do you see problems? And what I tell them is I don't sense problems. Everything I check is like an energy system that's like a battery. And it's only got two listings, fully charged, not fully charged. Which makes sense because this way I can't judge anybody. And it's never terminal, it's just fully charged, not fully charged. It's never good or bad, it's just needs some healing, doesn't need some healing. So no matter what they tell me, the basics that I check makes up everything. And actually, I never pay attention really to a so-called medical diagnoses, because that's how a medical doctor might look at it. I look at it from an energy perspective. So whether they say they have cancer or arthritis or lupus or autoimmune or environmental sensitivities or a toothache, it's just an energy system.
Does it help you to know the diagnosis?
Well, actually, what I've found over the years, it's like when I work with people with addictions, and I've had cases, people, you know, with marijuana addiction, cocaine addiction, opioid addiction, that they said it was very strange. It was like the switch was turned off and there was no withdrawal.
Wow.
The craving was just gone. So does it help? Well, I think it helps the person be more receptive. So like a person comes to see me who's an alcoholic and says, oh, just work on everything. I think then not as receptive as the person who said, I have a problem, this is where I'm stuck, I need some healing with that. So I don't really need to know, and God already knows. I think it helps them be more receptive when they pick their top things where they're stuck.
What are some of the biggest blocks to receiving a healing from you?
Well, I think it goes back to all mankind, that deep down we feel we're unworthy.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm never good at quoting the exact Bible sentence, but what I tell people, the truth is, ye are children of the Most High. That's the truth. You know, when people tell me, oh, you did the healing for my migraines, about 50% of the pain is gone. And I said, you know, if anything responds, everything can respond. And a lot of them might say, oh, well, I don't want to bother God. And I go, hey, it's no bother. If you can respond some, you can respond completely. So sometimes I have to give people pep talks.
Oh, man. Well,
or they'll focus on what didn't change rather than what did change. Like one case, a lady said she was having headaches every day for months, did the healing session, saw her a few weeks later, and she said, well, it didn't work. And I said, okay, what happened? She said, I still had a mild headache a few days ago. Okay, it did work. Your severity dramatically changed. It went from every day bad to one slight. And then I have to just tell them, if it can respond like that, it can respond completely. So, yeah, like I said, the more you do something like this, the more you learn the ins and outs, the logistics of it. I had to learn how to phrase things. I had to learn how to get out of the way, in the sense that I used to have people come to me and say, I want a relationship healing with me and my ex, make him miserable and make me happy.
Ooh.
And I go, no, God doesn't work that way. I can do relationship healing, highest and best for all concerned. Or if someone came to me and said, I want to lose weight, say it's a woman, and she says, yeah, make me 36, 22, 34. And I go, well, no, that's a wish list. I can do some healing to assist you to your ideal weight. But I had to learn how not to give God instructions.
So you're not a spiritual hitman, and you're not a spiritual plastic surgeon either.
No, I've had to learn to stay neutral. Now, I did have one lady, she said, have you ever worked with, what's it when fat accumulates?
Cellulitis?
Oh, yeah.
Or cellulose.
So this young woman said, have you ever worked with cellulite? And I said, well, no one ever asked that before. I tuned in, can we work with that? And I got yes. She wrote me about 6 weeks later. She said about half of it was gone. Now, why wasn't it 100%?
Oh.
Who's in charge? The person's always in charge. And if anything can respond, everything can respond.
Do you receive healing through your work?
Well, actually, there's a phrase in the Course in Miracles, you can't but give to yourself. And because I'm neutral, I've had lots of healers tell me they get drained. I don't get drained.
Excellent.
At the big churches, I'll see people 12 hours straight, 5, 6 days in a row, no breaks. So do I get drained? No. Do I get energized? In a way. I mean, I can do a 12-hour day and it goes by in a blink. But I think a lot of it also has to do with my holistic model.
Yes.
That
Yes.
age 10, I was led to start lifting weights. Even Rosalind Brewer, the famous healer in California, has all her students do weight training. And I had the guidance to start at age 10.
I think that really helps be grounded in your body and on earth. Because you do a lot of etherical work.
Right, yeah, yeah. And I don't take it on because I know it's not me. I'm just neutral. So no matter what people bring to me, they say, oh, I have a terminal brain cancer. I don't see terminal. I just see an energy system not fully charged.
That's one thing I really appreciate you. I mean, there's many things I appreciate about you, but you're neutral, and you're disconnected with the outcome.
Well, like I said, it's very important. A lot of times people who want a certain outcome, they feel pressure, they feel responsibility, and a number of times they start taking on part of the people's problems because they say, oh, they're hurting so much, maybe I could take it on me and help them relieve it. Well, if you work on a lot of people and you're taking a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, you're going to be sick in a very short period of time. Olga Worrell, the most famous spiritual healer of the last 100 years, once said, you can't afford to take on people's problems.
Oh, no.
So if they're like in a pit, to help them stay grounded outside the pit, lower a rope, help them come back out.
So we are so lucky to have Dr. Saul Shaye with us on this earth right now. And he's available here in Santa Fe for one-on-one sessions like we just witnessed with Satnam and Kathy.